Hi, this is Amy with Paramount. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Paramount podcast. Make sure to visit ParamountALS.com. That's ParamountALS.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Dominic Bickus, Dave Dini. Our guest today is Mr. Craig Andrea, and this is podcast number 4 here of the Dave Dini podcast.
Hey, Dom is shot out of a cannon. How you hear that loud voice? Nice.
Well, I want to introduce our guest here today, Mr. Craig Andrea. Craig is a 30-plus year veteran in the automotive industry here. He's been consistently one of the top general managers here throughout. Craig, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So the agenda for today's topic, we want to learn a little bit more about who Craig is as an individual, how he's consistently been one of the top performers here within the automotive industry, and then we'll help talk about some best practices and dive into the future of the automotive industry.
Perfect. No problem.
Sounds good. Craig and I go back a long time. And in my life, you meet people that become your friends or their acquaintances. But then there's also those people on that journey, you watch their life and you admire it. And Craig is one of those people that is consistently, in my opinion, practicing best practices of being a winner. It's all the time. I've seen it from Craig. You remember Greg Haha.
Mm-hmm.
It's his arena that he was in. But certain people do certain things, and success leaves clues. And Craig is one of them. I know you had some questions for Craig. Why don't you start out with a little bit, about Craig? Because I think people listening or watching, anybody might find something that we have to say of interest. Craig's going to throw nuggets out there that I think can help anybody. You could be somebody aspiring to be great at anything, and that's part of what we're doing, right? We've lived a life, and we want to share some of these thoughts with people. And if it helps somebody, you never know who you're going to get it from. You might have heard it a million times, but all of a sudden it's that one person, one time, that didn't seem to have any benefit from telling you. And this could be through what we think right now is this podcast. We don't know what we're doing. We're just trying to share. And Craig's got a lot. So why don't you ask him?
Absolutely.
First.
So just to kick things off for the audience, who is Craig Andrea? Why did you decide on the automotive industry, and how did you get started within this industry?
Well, how I got started was really a fluke. I got out of college in '89 and was looking for a job. Everybody else was looking for a job, and I wanted to get some sales experience. So I got into the automobile industry with just figuring that there's going to be something better for me to do, something that I can go and use my education and prosper very well in the business world. And I just got into sales. And if you rewind a little bit before that, I played football in school. I played football in high school, and I was very, very aggressive.
You had to be a linebacker.
Yeah, well, no, I say a safety. But my point is this: when you get to a point where you're so involved in team athletics that it's all about winning, how you win, whether you have a small portion of that opportunity to be successful and make that team work, or a large opportunity in that team to be successful. And you take that mentality of always, no matter what, you get knocked down, you get back up, and you try harder, and you want to kind of show everybody that you can hold your own in this in this sport. So going back to the business, when I got into the automobile business, it was like the Wild Wild West. Guys just, first of all, you could smoke in the dealerships, which I never smoked, but it was like you had to cut through it with a knife. And it was just, anything goes. There was no internet. There was no computer system. There was no any type of electronic correspondence that help you through the course of the opportunities to sell more cars. It was all manual. It was manual books that you would have to handwrite people's names, numbers, things they're looking for, and they call it an up book. And then you would take a copy out, and your manager would take a copy out. And then when you finally sold a car, you'd write sold, and you'd write birth dates on it. And you had to do a lot of work that now, fast forward to now, is just unbelievably. This is the easiest opportunity for somebody now that wants to learn the industry, to do it very well and to do it professionally and to really just excel.
So you think it's gotten a little bit easier from when you got started in '89, '90s to today, being in the automotive industry, selling cars, technology's made it a bit
Yes.
of an easier process?
Yes, technology has made it an easier process, but I do believe this. I do believe back in the day, there was no rules, there was no regulation. Unfortunately, it was the consumer that was probably in most instances not delivering the value that they perceived that they were getting. It was just, there was no
Pricing
prices.
wasn't as
Yeah,
transparent.
no, there was no transparency, and it gave its bad name. So how can I explain it? Now fast forward to now, when consumers still hold that I don't trust car dealers.
Yeah.
Well, I was a part of that early 90s and how it was before, and it was kind of like the good old boys club. It was, you take advantage when you can take advantage of, and those you can't, you don't. And it was bad. I mean, nowadays, I would tell people that it's a great industry. It's an industry that you could strive to do a bunch of different opportunities in the auto industry. They have technology. They have the product line's fantastic. You have unbelievable amounts of education that you can get, and you're basically in the transportation business. You're helping people buy automobiles, but you're also helping people with being just yourself. Know your product. If someone comes in and wants to know about the vehicle, you know all about it, and you know about its competitors. And you're going to tell them why you have a strong belief in their product. And let's go back to the pricing and value and all the other stuff. There's going to be some vehicles that hold a premium. What I mean by a premium, will probably hold a larger margin because the fact is that supply and demand, okay? And then there's going to be vehicles that dealerships can get plenty of, and they just sell them fast, quick, and they're really not looking for so much of holding a margin, right? They're looking to move a vehicle.
Right.
Make a future serving clients. It's a very customer orientated automobile industry now. If you aren't good to a customer, you're not transparent in your values, and you're not transparent in educating your people, and not worrying about the end game would be, well, how much am I going to make on these customers,
Right.
opposed to, why don't we try to do this? Why don't we try to build a relationship of value first? Get them into your dealership. Show them that you are a very, very indifferent from what their opinion of a car salesman is. Show them that you're a professional. Show them that you can show them the product that they're looking for, that you can help them in getting the transportation that they requested, right?
Yeah.
And then the price will work itself out. Consumers guarded with enough information, and they pretty much know what the cars cost. They know what the industry of bank rates are.
Right.
It's just they want to be
It's a
treated
much
right.
more educated buyer
Correct.
these days.
Yes, everybody's educated.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's not a facet of wealthy people are only educated. Anybody that can pick up a phone now, and you go there, you can find all the information on the internet. It's just easy. But back to what I'm saying. So I got into this deal about 30 years ago, and my biggest thing was just trying to sell the car.
Yeah.
That's all I cared about. I didn't care about profit. Sounds crazy. I just wanted the customers to like me. I wanted them to like me. I want them to feel that I'm different than everybody else. I watched the board as my name kept going higher and higher and higher, and it was funny because it was so toxic back then that salesmen were trying to why don't you stop running around? You're making us look bad. Or you're doing all that, and that's the old adage of what was in the industry now have gone from the industry.
Got it.
And I'll tell you another thing too. It's an incredible business. More people that started off in sales have gone on to own dealerships. So self-created success without education, without a college, without everything. They're just very good businessmen. They learned as they went along. And they've done very well for themselves.
And let's transition a little bit. You talked about just wanting to compete and relating it back to sports and you being a winner. But what is it that keeps you so driven? I mean, I know I'm always amazed by how driven Dave is also. And I see that same thing in you, where we have a record month for you, right? Shatter Records have a fantastic start. Come the next Monday, it's not, hey guys, pat on the back, great job. It's, I need 8 more. I need 8 more. I mean, it's just a non-stop cycle, and I love it. But what is it that keeps you so driven?
Before you finish that question,
Yeah.
I think it kind of relates to this: how do you remain on top?
Mm-hmm.
You know, then so we can segue into this other question. You know, remember we said success leaves clues. So I think it'd be important for you to tell the audience, not like you're, beating your chest on the greatest, but we know when we recognize something, that's why we're having this meeting. What keeps you on top? And what is it that you think about when you go to work and you see there's people doing things this way? You said it about customers. I want these customers to like me. I want these customers to sense and feel a difference. And I'm sure you do that same thing when you attack this, when you go to become a dealership GM or owner at anything you're going to do. You're saying to yourself, okay, I'm bringing the Craig Andrea difference. Maybe you can kind of relate to us.
Well, I think it has to be, first of all, you have to have an immense amount of pride in yourself, and and here's the deal. Now, this is your career. This is your legacy. There's going to come a time that, that I'm not here anymore, right? And that whether it's, I'm often retired or I'm just not here, I run out of gas.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that how are you going to be remembered? Were you somebody that can get into the industry and make such a difference? How many people have you mentored? How many people have worked and learned your work ethic and became successful?
So it's about legacy.
Yeah, legacy is incredible. And you know what? The one thing I will say is that, like I said, I got to a point where I partnered up, and it was a partner in an auto dealership, and I got to the highest level I thought I can get. And the thing about it was, I also learned a valuable lesson, even after being successful, is that if you do not have the work ethic to want to be successful, to take the hard path rather than the easy path, chances are when things go awry, you have no way to recuperate. You just fall down because you've set up something to fail, not to be successful. Growing up, we had minimal means. As you know, my parents were both hard workers. They both passed away before I was out of high school. So all these things added up to me wanting to do what? Get a job, be able to make money, get through school, and be able to help my family, who was at the time was my brother and sister. So everybody has reasons to want to be, I didn't have a choice. So I had to go out and do things. So sometimes they say, who's the strong one in the family and who's the one that's always leaning on somebody else? Well, at the end of the day, I might complain, and I've told you this a million times, Dave, being the strong one in the family, I will never, ever want to give that up. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather have it all on me than lean on somebody else.
You're taking control and
Correct.
responsibility.
And the same thing in the auto industry. So when I got into this business, my drive and my determination to be excellent was after I got into it, I just feed off of the naysayers, the people in the industry, the negative people. And how I became more successful is in multiple failures. When I fail, I took it so personal and how to fix it. How do I get around this? What did I do wrong? What did I say to that customer? Why didn't they like me enough to buy? And as I started to realize that you just have to put your A game out every single day, you'll be successful. You have to make sure that the consumer's needs are met just as much as yours. You have to make sure that in the end of the day, when it comes down to the financial matters of how somebody buys a car, that there's full transparency. And a customer understands. Case in point, if you're $1,000 away from making a deal, and someone tells you, I can go an hour from here to get $1,000. Did you ever ask him? Did you ever break it down $1,000? And you look at it, we're talking $20 a month, and you could buy right here. You said you like me, you like the car, you really want to buy from me, but that $1,000 is a really stickler. So what most dealerships do is they retract. They try to defend and tell you why don't buy from that place. They try to be negative. They try to tell you that place is not a good place to buy because of this, that, and the other thing. Right. Or they tell you that they're lying to you, or they're telling you this. You know what I tell them? What haven't I shown you enough value to say that I'm worth that $1,000? Or more importantly, what if we can just make it $800 difference?
Right.
And you give me that, and I promise, 100% promise to you, that I will be the best decision you made in the automobile industry by doing business with me.
That's great.
You need to up your game, convince the customer
Yeah.
that you're the best opportunity. And now here's another thing. This is the other side. Be a guy, when I told you about legacy and wanting to leave a footprint, be that person that you do come through for them, that you do answer their calls, that you do follow up with them, that you do say hello to them. You know, people look at actions. They don't look at, you could talk all you want and how great you think you could be or want to be, but you're only going to be as good as you show in your actions. You know, at 53 years old, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I've been and after I had a failure in my business, I had a crossroad, because what I did was I hit the easy button. I said, I'm going to go after really easy people to sell, people that were not so good in a credit situation. And, you know, the only thing I'm going to do is it's going to be easy. I need to find them credit on a car, and they buy it. Well, when the market crashed and the banks started losing money.
Just like 08,
yeah,
roughly?
correct. They started losing money. We went down. I took a hard business model of working hard ethics, and I pressed the easy button.
Got it.
And I'll tell you something, greatest lesson I ever learned. Everybody says, well, are you upset that you lost your dealership? Are you upset that you had to sell? Are you upset? And I said, you know what? It kind of created the second coming of myself on how what I did wrong and how I can be better and not lose. I lost my principles for a second, because what I did is I wanted to make easy money rather than work hard for my money.
Yeah.
You know, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
And as we did that, I reinvented myself. I said, anywhere, any place. I don't care the brand. I don't care. I am a person that can make change. I can unite salesmen to be excited about their jobs and want to show up to work, because they know one thing: I'm going to work as hard as they are. I want my managers to know I'm going to work as hard as they are. I want service and parts to know that I'm going to go back there, and if I have to do something to help them out, I'm going to do something to help out. If I have to work the service lane, I'm going to work the service lane. I say hello to my mechanics every day. I'm not above working.
I think what you're saying too, Craig, which
be involved.
Tying this together a little bit. When Craig talks about his failures, right? He never stopped being the guy that was the safety, you know, which is part of your MO. Work harder than everybody in the room. But there was a conflict in your mind now, looking back on it, when you chose the business model you chose.
Correct.
And what you
Correct.
This doesn't now, because nobody worked harder than Craig, even when he supposedly, you know, pressed the easy button. But it wasn't aligned. It wasn't aligned with, and that's why sometimes you can get into those circumstances. So I think from that, you then said, okay, I'm going to always now, from all the things I do, I'm going to be thorough in my thought process, that this plus this are aligned, so that therefore I can go ahead and reach. Because no matter how much energy I get, you know what I mean? If I'm going after it this way, like going east to see a sunset, never going to happen.
No.
Sets in the west. So I'm not speaking on your behalf, but I think that pulling it together for you, I like when you say too, hey, I'm going to be the best me I can be every single day, and I'm going to lead by example. And I'm going to choose a route that I know now has a foundation in it, that no matter what, if you build a good foundation, you might sway a bit, but you're always going to be able to adjust. You're going to know where you're going wrong. Where the other way, you were just taking the easy route, the shortcut, whatever that might have been. When you talked about also, Craig, when you got to be successful, things I noticed, and you said it a couple of times when you were just going over, it looks like to me you look for opportunity to be different, but in a positive way. So, for example, we're in a gym together sometimes, and if someone's sitting on a machine reading their phone, I could sense him getting pissed off. So we have to go to the machine next to this person, and he does like 3 times the amount of reps and does double push-ups, and because he wants these people to know this is what you do to be successful. And I get a sense when, Dom, you said earlier, hey, so Craig, we just smashed a great month, and now it's Monday. Craig's like, I know what average does. Average comes in and goes, oh, it's Monday. I actually deserve Monday off. Am I striking
You're
on
100%
something?
right.
So he comes in on Monday and says, I'm going to give you the opposite of what you think's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
This is why I'm Craig Andrea and I'm successful. Small as the detail, smashed, in a solid foundation.
Well, I think it's really what makes you guys so similar in that sense, that the naysayers are something that drives you to be better. I think.
Well, it reminds you of how to be better.
I see the same thing with you, and I think maybe that's why you guys are so close, because you share that common trait, both of you. If someone says something to Dave and
you can't do it now.
It's the opposite.
It's holidays.
Right.
It's late at night. There's no one going to be
There's
home.
always, there's never going to be a shortage on excuses.
Yeah.
But that's not going to be my reason of why I don't accomplish what I want to accomplish and leave a legacy in this industry. And back to what I'm saying is that you used to go around with an entourage. You trained all these great individuals. And you're like, well, we just keep going to dealership to be more successful. But then I started realizing to myself, you know what? I trained them to be great. Mm-hmm. And I believe that I have a good, I guess for better practical words, I was a big reason on their opportunity to springboard in the industry, a good influence. So I said to myself, you know what? Why just stop with them? So as I moved around to different places, there's always someone I can call and somebody, hey, listen, you need some help over there. I try to work with what I got. Mm-hmm. You know that? Because here's the deal. If you just went around and you just gave up on people and you just chose your own to put in there, that's not a solid business foundation. If your teachings are what they are and you are who you are, you can turn any situation into a positive environment. You can take people that don't believe and show them that it can happen. Mm-hmm. But here's the catch-alls. You better be in earlier than everybody else. You better leave later than everybody else. You better care more than everybody else. And you better just consistently just do everything you possibly can to be successful. Mm-hmm. And when they start to see that drive, that this guy just doesn't go away. Yeah. Then they start seeing a little bit of more success. And then you start seeing things turn. And then next thing you know, they're like hanging on every word. What are we doing now? Let's go. I mean, They're excited. And you know why they're excited? And I'm excited. I'm more excited for people that turn the corner to be successful is because the fact is that think about somebody before, management before, or a couple different management groups and stores that were hanging on to not doing everything they ever wanted to do. We're saying these people are no good. They're no good. Well, they're not no good. You just weren't a smart leader. You're not a good leader. Yeah. And that's what you got to do. You got to be a good leader. And and I know they got cliches all over the place. You see them everywhere. Leaders. Leaders don't lead from the front. They lead from the back. You know what I'm saying? And they sit there and they help their people. Here's the deal. It's true. It's all common sense. You have to get in there every day and say, what can I do to help you? I basically make my sales staff, my service department, my parts, anybody, my office staff, I want them to be bully-proofed. I don't want that single thing that they have to be nervous about in the industry because they know when they turn around, I'm going to be right there to help them. Help them, work with them, alongside of them, and in most practical purposes, probably solve the problem that they're afraid of. Mm-hmm. Just move forward. But it's an easy industry. But the fact of the matter is that you have to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like anything in life, it's that simple process, though. But you got to do it. You got to be consistent with it every single day. That's what you're doing. That's what Craig Andrea does. We about to hit on.
Yeah. So I wanted to transition a little bit specifically, Craig. So you've been in the auto industry 30 plus years, right? You've had to start kind of from scratch. I'm coming in brand new place.
Correct.
So what are maybe the top 3 things you come into a brand new dealership? What are the first 3 things that you implement as a general manager to make the store be successful?
First day is to go out and try to meet every single person that works in the organization and just shut up and listen and sit with them. Mm-hmm. And basically go pick up a little notepad and just put their name and grade them out on what I mean by grade them out. Grade them out like if someone's very toxic, very negative, don't spend another time and time trying to change somebody that's probably embedded in them. Mm-hmm. Why don't you find the person that hides in the corner, that doesn't say nothing, just shows up every day, but doesn't have very good success because they haven't felt like they've learned anything, right? Teach them, make successes out of them, And then you start to evaluate the people in a store, and you start to say to yourself, do I have a person that's not good at what they do and it just shouldn't be here?
Right.
Or do I have someone that has been managed well, shown, mentored, and taught how to be successful?
Mm-hmm.
And they got to learn how to win.
Yeah, how often have you heard in your career from lesser talented leadership, I need better people.
Oh.
I need my people are terrible. I need better people. And you don't go out and find better people, Craig, you create them.
Yeah, you know what, B, the guy that wants to go out and find better people is the guy that wants to elevate himself, because he realizes that he's not the person for the task.
Right.
And I think
Deep down,
and I think that's the one thing that really, really concerns me is when, somebody gives you a general manager's position.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Some owner says, I have a lot of money at stake here, and you are going to be the gatekeeper of my success. And I want you to go out and do everything I envision my place to be. You know what kind of compliment that is to have that?
It's a lot of responsibility.
It's a real responsibility. But you know what? Now you're the leader of the tribe.
Yeah.
Now you're responsible for every single person in that store. You're responsible, and you have a duty to make them successful. You have a duty to implement successful measures, to stay positive, to work hard, to show them every day anything's accomplishable if you put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
Anything is. And so as dealership starts to turn, I know I hear it all the time. Oh, it must be luck. It must be luck. Well, I must have been the luckiest guy in the world, because we take things that we move and we turn and we go in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, the one thing I was always worried in this industry, I'm like, wow, what would my name be? Because I've been to so many places. And at the end of the day, if I don't offer Craig Andrea 100% of everything I got to create success, then that would be a problem.
Yeah.
But you know what my issue is? I just want to keep on going, and I just want to have every place that I can go to turn on to be successful and create successful environment. Pull up a team. Here's the greatest thing here's the greatest accomplishment in the world is if you create success so much that you are there, but they are doing it without you.
Yeah.
You know that? It's a leader.
Yeah.
Because you're not in fear of, well, if they know too much, then they're not going to need me.
Right.
Or they're, you know what? That's really a weak approach, and a lot of people do that, which ain't very smart.
This is some great teachings. One last little thought: if you were a brand new salesperson coming into the industry, or a guy or girl who just got into finance, or somebody who's a brand new GSM or GM, would you have any last words? You've told your story, and they can take anything out of that and know how to be successful. What would you tell them to do right now?
To know your job and know your job well, and know that you have to be a major influencer of success. You have to, if you're having a bad day and there's negative things in your mind, and as soon as you hit the door, the paved lot, when you get into this, you're done. You're a leader. You're an example setter. You have to be concentrated on what's going to be the best, attitude I can have to show everybody that, man, this guy's always happy, or she's always happy, or she's always on her game.
So great attitude, regardless of leaving problems at the door.
Regardless, yes, 100%.
Go after your job, know what it is,
yes.
And every detail of that job, do it like it's the only job you ever have in your life.
Correct.
You're the owner of that particular department.
Listen, own your responsibility, and that's it. And then everything else will fall in.
No excuses.
No excuses. You can't have excuses.
We can't wait to see you next time at the Paramount Podcast. Make sure to tune in.